Thanks for the turnout. My name is Mark Carroll. I am over corporate strategy at LoadSmart. We're both a brokerage and a technology provider. Today, we're not talking about brokerage, so that should make at least some of you happy. I know sometimes that's a contentious topic. Not today. We're talking about tech, right? So what we'll go through today, we'll kind of talk about the evolution of freight. I want to give you a little bit of background on myself, but instead of sitting here talking about me, I would talk about my journey in the industry. I've been around the industry for a while, kind of talk about the backdrop of technology that I've experienced. Then we'll talk about TMSs, why we need to see those evolve, how we need to see adoption change, and really focus in on workflow management and really how to make your lives easier. And then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. We're not going to take the full 45 minutes, so that should make some of you happy. I definitely want to hear questions from the audience and be able to answer those for you. Okay, so I've been in the industry for a while. I've been in an asset-based company. I've been at multiple brokerages. I've been in the tech space for about 10 years, all within freight, right? And the thing that's been consistent, right, is tech adoption's been hard in this industry. And I don't think that's a surprise to anybody here. As we go back to kind of my early beginnings, right, I started out at Echo Global Logistics. We were a brokerage. We were kind of a tech-forward brokerage at the time. We were sending faxes to get rate cons out the door, right? When I tell people that, they always say the same thing. It's like, oh, you look pretty good for your age. I'm like, yeah, not a day over 60, right? In reality, that was 2009, right? We were still sending faxes in 2009. When the stapler ran out of staples, the line would back up and Echo would cease to function, right? We were still doing that stuff then because there was so much dependent on paperwork. As I moved on to an asset-based company, who I won't name, one of the largest in the country, they had a TMS. And it was like, oh my God, this is so different. This is cool to be able to see people using technology. Until you realize what they were using was green screens, right? There was F5 function for this, F4 function for this, and you just went to bed kind of dreaming of the F keys as you were working through your day-to-day. And while that was a nice step forward, it was still super archaic technology, right? It looked like it was Microsoft DOS from the early 90s, and it really wasn't doing anything more than keeping us organized, right? As we fast forward to the teens, when I really started working in tech, in particular in kind of visibility and digital tracking and those sorts of things, we started to see a shift in the industry, right? And it started to pick up from there. You know, the ELD mandate, love it or hate it. Some of you probably have the exact date burned in your memory of when that transpired. It really kicked things off into more of a tech evolution, right? It forced us to have data consistency and kind of more in cab to allow us to, have more at our fingertips. And through that, we saw a lot of different pieces of functionality coming out that could be individually adopted and kind of picked up. We did see a lot more TMS usage during this period in time and really start having people kind of digitize the freight space and really start working cohesively across the channels. And then flash forward to today, right? The hot button today is AI. That's not just true of our industry. Everywhere you go, AI is the buzzword. In reality, what people are talking about when they say AI is automation, right? And it's, no matter what technical language it's written in, at the end of the day, what we're trying to get to through AI is making people's lives easier. It's not about replacing people, it's about replacing tasks, right? And starting to give people an opportunity to do more with their day and focus in on the things that they actually care about doing, right? So with that, what do carriers care about doing? I don't have to tell anyone in this room. The number one thing you guys care about doing is keeping the country moving, right? Getting freight on the back of your truck, making money for your families, and putting things on consumer shelves. But the reality is that's not all a carrier does, right? In order to run a business, you have to do other things. You have to find your loads, you have to dispatch your loads, you have to track them, you have to invoice, and there's all these disparate things that you have to do to keep your business flowing. It's all the tedium that gets in the way of doing what you really want to do, which is finding more freight and moving it across the country. So, then there's TMS. And what's great about TMS is it organizes your day. It tells you, hey, here's all my list of stuff to do. These are the things that I have to get done. These are the loads I have to get out the door. This is the bills that I have to send in order to make sure that I get paid. This is the payroll, all that sort of stuff. But in reality, it's not enough, right? All we're doing is forcing work back on people still. What we're doing is we're organizing it a little bit better, but it's still requiring someone to go in and do all of those things, right? It's all about doing stuff, which is what we want to try to avoid. So ironically, the TMS company is telling you you should not just buy a TMS. I'm standing up here proudly saying that, right? I think TMS is a great step in the evolution, and when you look at that kind of journey in the timeline, we're sort of in like the middle end phase, right? As we start seeing more automation come into play, we're really excited about how that drives itself into TMS and really empowers people to do more, right? If you think about the thing that you want to do individually in a given day, and you think about all the stuff that blocks you, those are the things that we're going to start talking about around automation and AI within TMSs. TMSs are a great leap forward. You don't have function keys anymore, but you do still have big, long lists of stuff, which is really annoying to deal with. So the power of workflow automation, the thing that I'm focused in on as a technical person these days, and again, language aside, AI, bots, whatever you want to call it, right? The thing for me is presenting work to people, right? That says, hey, I don't have to think about what I'm supposed to do next. My day is busy enough dealing with the problems of a broke down truck or an appointment that was scheduled incorrectly. I don't want to have to think about the other things in my day. And so how does a system both tell me what to focus on and then in some situations just do it for me? Because I don't have time and I don't really care, to be totally honest, right? That's the focus that we have with our platform moving forward and really focusing in on trying to present things to you. With that, we'll show you some slides around what we actually have been doing through the automation space. We're going to have Nuno Bernardo, our product manager, come up and share that. He gave me a little fun fact before he got up here. This is his first public speaking appearance in English, so this will be great for him. And he does speak perfectly fine English for in the group. So,
hello, Ron. Hi. Well, on LoadSmart, we take the workflow automation efficiency very seriously. So here's an example of how you can create a load on TMS. Basically, Mark said that on his time, people were faxing rate confirmations. Today, it's not very different, like people are sending rate confirmations via email. But in order to work with the TMS, the data must be within the TMS. So what we're doing is, we're making the most simple way for you to create a load when out of a email received with a rate confirmation. So basically, here, I'm showing that a dispatcher can receive the rate confirmation on his phone and can just forward the rate confirmation to an email that is createload@cartms.io. And we are collecting this document. Our AI is reading the document and creating the load for you. So you don't have to log in the system and do a lot of things, click a lot of buttons to create your loads within the system. You can just forward the rate confirmation, we'll create a load for you, and then you assign to a driver, send information, and get going. So this is one way in which we are translating efficiency to the workflow using our tools.
Yeah, think about it from the perspective of, right, now, instead of having to type in every load detail, I have to read the email, then type it into the system. All we're doing for you is dropping it directly in, right? It replaces EDI, it replaces API. So for some of the smaller carriers in the room that don't have the time, energy, technical resources, money to go chase that stuff down, we're doing it on your behalf.
Awesome. Another example is on planning. We know that we, as humans, we are a visual species. So we work better when we see things rather than like reading long lists and tables and information. So what we're doing here is we are showing our customers' operation in a very visual way. So we have this nice calendar view that shows all the drivers or all the trucks and all the loads with their statuses. But most importantly, we're showing the gap in between loads. So let's say that you're a dispatcher, you are planning for your driver's week, and you see that between Tuesday and Friday, there's a gap. So we're showing the gap, how many hours the driver is idle, how many miles the driver is idle, so we're picking the last drop-off and the next pickup, and we're showing the deadhead. And we're adding a button, this plus button, that if you click, there is an option. You can fill this gap with existing load, or you can do a load board search. If you choose a load board search, we open the load board, and you already filter out the cities, the locations, the empty miles radio you're up to drive to fill those loads for you. So we just have to pick up the best load for you. So it's very simple and very convenient. All the information is there, but instead of showing in a big table with a lot of information that is no interesting for you, we are boiling down, so it's very easy for you to operate. Another example is invoicing. Like after you deliver the load, you did all your job, everything that you have to do, you want to get paid. And invoicing takes some work. Like you have to build invoice, you have to collect the documents, to merge the documents, and to deliver the invoice in the standard that either your factoring company or your shipper is collecting. So what we're doing for you is, we already have all the information from your company. We already have all the information from your load, the rates, the accessorial charges. We have all the documents. So you upload the rate code to create the load. Your driver upload the POD from the driver app. We are just gluing everything together for you. So the only thing that you have to do is to check if all the information is OK, and then click a button to approve the load, so we generate the invoice for you. And then you can press the button to send the invoice either to factoring or to your shipper with just one click. So it's very simple. It's a vital part of the process of moving loads. That's how you get your money. But it doesn't have to involve a lot of work. Just one click will do the job. And the next one is something that we are releasing for our customers in the next month. We are in the final steps of the test. And we are calling this the task workflow. So on task, basically, the system is aware of more information than your dispatchers are, just because the system is receiving pings from the OD every 5 minutes. The system knows the locations, the times where your trucks must be. So the system knows that it may have lateness or detention before your dispatchers can realize looking at the TMS or calling the drivers. So what we're doing here is, whenever we receive a ping from the EOD, we check where the truck is. We check where is the drop-off and what's the time, and if the truck has enough in transit time to be there. If not, we are throwing a task in the system, say, hey, there's a possible lateness going on. Perhaps you want to call the facility and get a different appointment. Perhaps you want to call the facility and see, like, hey, is there going to be a problem? Should I rush my driver? Should I look for options? So we can prevent hurting the relationship. And that's the main thing. Like, as dispatchers, the main thing is getting a good relationship with the customers rather than operating a complicated TMS. The TMS must work for you and solve things for you. Another thing is perhaps your driver checked in a facility and didn't check out for almost 2 hours. There's something going on. Perhaps you will lose the next appointment because driver's sitting in the facility for too long. Perhaps you want to call the facility. Perhaps you want to call the driver and try to solve the situation. And those are the things that the TMS is aware. So we are putting them in a more visible way for the dispatchers to work. And this is our task-based automation. In LoadSmart, we're going beyond only the carrier TMS to help our drivers and carriers to be more effective. Though here is an example of a different system that we are building. Perhaps you're familiar with OpenDoc. OpenDoc allows carriers to book appointments directly with the facility. And we are adding a computer vision module to OpenDoc. So whenever a truck is arriving at the facility, the truck driver doesn't have to go out the truck and check in. We're adding cameras to the facility that take pictures of the truck and cross-reference the information out of the trailer with our database. So the system knows when the driver check in without the driver having to talk to anyone for that. So those are a few examples of how LoadSmart is bringing efficiency and automation through AI and technology for carrier companies.
All right, thanks, Nuno. So yeah, to summarize what Nuno is going through in the individual features, again, the goal here is removal of process, right? Where before you're going to have to go and talk to your dispatcher, your driver talks to your dispatcher talks to the shipper to schedule an appointment. We've eliminated that sort of stuff. You got to go and sift through all the hours that the driver's driven, all the loads that they're on, and then calculate the payroll. We eliminate those sorts of things. And so the goal of the TMS and the ecosystem that we're creating is really to just shrink your focus down to the day-to-day, which is, hey, I have a problem in my life that I need to go solve, or more importantly, do what everyone in this room is good at, which is like building relationships, right? When you look at this industry as a whole, it's built on relationships. And so freeing up your time to focus in on that more important stuff is really what we're focused on, right? How do we eliminate some of the tasks and automate things for you? How do we build loads quickly? How do we bill your brokers or shippers more quickly? How do we pay your drivers more quickly? All that stuff kind of comes in play. And then as you look at some of the more kind of advanced ecosystem stuff with NavTrack and OpenDoc, we're taking that outside of just your yard and putting it into the ecosystem as a whole. So, you know, I'm not going to read the testimonies. That's for you guys to do. But I do want to highlight one comment, which is that, hey, stop copying and pasting and doing things manually. You're wasting your time. Stop doing stuff, right? Find systems, whether it's ours or any other system, whether it's a TMS or an individual piece of technology. I can tell you, having been around the freight tech space for a long time, the thing that I judge off of is what is it eliminating in my life? What can I stop doing as a result? And then, you know, that translates to me wasting time. If I enjoy doing it, if it's valuable for me doing it, that's not a waste of time. But if it's stuff that I don't really care to do or find it to be a nuisance, I want to eliminate those things. So again, whether it's LoadSmart or any other piece of technology, we highly encourage, you know, kind of that thought process as you look at adoption. Carrier TMS is the main thing we're showcasing here at MATS this year. You know, it was founded about 8 or 9 years ago. It was purpose-built for small and medium-sized carriers, right? Our target audience is like 5 to 75 trucks. It was built by a fleet around that size. They came to us to help them get it to market and become better than it was. And that's really what we focused on doing, is really trying to put the carriers first, the carrier experience first, and make their lives easier through the system. So again, you know, you may be familiar with LoadSmart as the broker. We certainly are that, but we want to showcase that we have a whole lot more to offer. And again, these tools for us are really about trying to empower the small and mid-sized carriers. They're not big money-making ventures for us. They're things that we're trying to do to give the community a better chance to adopt technology and really deploy good systems in their organizations. So if you want to talk further, feel free to come see us at our booth. Talk with us here afterwards as we get off stage. I think that number is wrong, actually. I think it's a $250 gift card, actually. But I may be held accountable for that later. So we'll call it $200. Maybe it's $250, I don't know. But please feel free to stop by and talk to us. At this point in time, we definitely encourage any questions, and not just about LoadSmart, but about, you know, freight tech and the industry as a whole. Again, I've been in the industry for 16, 17 years. Would love to answer any questions that you all have. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.